20 seconds. 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Okay. Rap your city. Let me see the mic. Rap your city. Give me the mic. Rap your city. I got you. Rap your city. I'm gonna tell you about mine. Rap your city.
It's time for us to go live, so rep your city. I really would appreciate if y'all roll with me. Feeling this music cause it makes me wanna step. And if you don't want it to, then you lying to yourself. Cause every time we party, we gon' have fun. I don't know about you, but I'ma rep where I'm from.
Rap your city. Okay. Rap your city. Let me see the mic. Rap your city. Give me the mic. Rap your city.
Welcome to the RYC Live show this evening. I am your host for tonight. My name is Artistic, and this is Fresh Fridays. Rep Your City, RYC Live, Fresh Fridays. We're broadcasting live right here from the windy city of Chicago, and we circulate around the world. So, as you all may know, we have a special guest tonight. And right about now, first of all, I'd like to encourage everyone to take this time to share this broadcast. Share. Please send it to family, send it to friends, send it to crewmates, anybody that you think that would be interested in learning about some breakdancing history, some legend stuff here tonight. And we have a legend in the backstage area that I'm going to bring out shortly. Some of you may know, and some of you may not. But tonight, we're going to talk about all the wonderful things that she has done. I'm so honored and privileged to have her be a part of the show. So once again, also, if you have not done so already, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's RYC Live on YouTube. You can follow us on Facebook at RYC Live or Rep Your City. You can send us a friend request if you'd like to be a future guest on a future show. Please send that to ryclive@yahoo.com. That's ryclive@yahoo.com. And someone from the team will be more than happy to get back with you. We're in the winter season right now. And, for some of us that live in cold climates like us and here in Chicago, we don't have a lot of fun during this time of the year. But when I do sessions like this, it always warms my heart and makes the time go by. And it's a good thing right now. At least right now, we don't have snow on the ground. So I'm happy about that. But I want to send a shout out to all the B-boys and all the B-girls around the world, all the crews from the 70s, from the 80s, from the 90s, all the way up until today. Real quick reminder, next year, we will be celebrating looking at the introduction of breaking going to the Olympics of 2024, and also the Universal Hip Hop Heritage. The Universal Hip Hop Museum in New York, in the Bronx, New York, will be opening up their doors to the public from people coming from all over the world to come check out the fascinating history of New York City and all of its boroughs. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce my friend. She is a B-girl from back in the days. For anybody that was around and know about the explosion of the dance form, breaking. They came from New York and it spread like wildfire all around the country. And then eventually it went around the world. And for many young people, it was our way to freedom. It was a way for us to express ourselves. It was a way to make us feel good, to make us feel important. And I know when I got involved, I know what it did for me and how much of an aspect of it that helped keep me in shape. It also kept a lot of us in shape, kept us out of trouble. But there was a time that a lot of people didn't respect it as a real dance form. And so today, like I said, the dance is now going to the Olympics. I don't think very many people can say that in an argument today, because here we are in 2023 and the dance is still alive. So I send a shout out once again to all the young dancers up and coming, the B-boys and the B-girls all around the world. Shout out to Red Bull for becoming a sponsor to the event, and all the other wonderful companies and organizations that have come aboard to support this dance form and help grow and develop it. But more importantly, I'm just glad that we are still alive to see and witness this dance form continue to grow. So without further ado, I would like to introduce the legend, the female dancer herself, the B-girl from Brooklyn, New York, my homegirl, Kim-A-Kazi.
Hi, Artistic. How are you?
All right. How's it going? Welcome.
Good evening. Happy Friday the 13th.
Okay, all right. Hey, look, we made it to see another year.
Yeah, not good. I also want to say congratulations to you on the success of your hip hop museum.
Thank you.
And it's doing great.
Thank you.
I know you're doing a lot of tours, and who knows, maybe I'll get down there to see it one day.
Yes.
But when the weather warms up.
Yes.
I got caught out there before in your town in the winter. Woo, baby.
Yes. So let me make this quick announcement for anybody that's watching and you would like any of your friends or any of Kim's friends to watch this. You can actually go to the YouTube channel at RYC Live. That's RYC Live. And you see how our logos look. And just click on that link and it'll take you directly to the live broadcast that we're doing on YouTube. Or you can go to my page, Daryl M. Roberts, or Kim's page. I actually tag Kim. So it should be connected if you go there. And if not,
on my Facebook page.
On her Facebook page.
Right.
Definitely you can check it out on YouTube. Sometimes Facebook acts a little funny and it may kick us off the broadcast. If that happens, dear friends, just go directly to YouTube. If you're watching it on Facebook, go directly to YouTube. We don't have any problems with YouTube, and you'll be able to pick up the broadcast. And if anybody's not available to watch the broadcast live as we do it, you can actually watch it later on the playback. So you would just go back to the channel, RYC Live, click on it. Her name is on there. The date is on there, January 13, 2023. And you will be able to watch the interview in its entirety. So we have my homegirl, Kim-A-Kazi of the Dynamic Dolls. We so want to thank you and welcome you to the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
And what I like to do is just go all the way back, because I feel like you can't
all the way, huh?
you can't really have a future without the past, right?
Truth.
And I feel like, as dancers, we've been in this dance a long time, and we still love to watch other people do it. And I think some of these youngins need to know who kind of laid some of this foundation for them to enjoy the dance today. My favorite dancers coming up was the New York City Breakers, aka the Flow Masters. And I was just blown away when I would see them on TV. The graffiti rock show episode that they appeared on, and Soul Train, and I became a big fan. And so I know what it did for me as a young person. I know what it could do for young people today. So let's talk about your history. Let's go all the way back to when you first started. What was that like in New York City? Because as a young person for myself, I used to want to go to New York so bad back in the 80s, just from what I was seeing on television, but just couldn't make it. I didn't actually go for the first time until the 90s. But by then, things had changed. So what was that like for you growing up in New York when you first got into this?
Well, I was always into dancing, always. So whatever dance style was out, I was doing it, my own freestyle and all that. So, you see it all around, like we were discussing on Soul Train. You have the lockers, and I just, I really wasn't into it, believe it or not, in the beginning. I was doing freestyle. We were doing the Webo over in the Fun House, which of course we discussed. And one day, Incredible Breakers, my brothers, were there. They were always there, but they had a guy there named Mike Boogie. And I just never saw anybody move like him. He was a popper. And when I saw him, I was like, I want to do that. So I went home, and the next day I got up and I just started teaching myself. And so that's how I started. I started with popping at this place called the Funhouse. You know, and you had all the breakers and everything going on. I didn't get into that until a little bit later. So that's how I started with the popping.
Nice, nice, nice. Now, was it like in your community coming up in Brooklyn? Do you recall seeing people in your neighborhood or surrounding areas doing the dance at all back then?
Not in my neighborhood, but
Okay, okay,
they
okay.
used to bring the kids in the neighborhood used to bring people to my aunt's apartment. I used to stay by my aunt and make me come down. They would come from the Bronx. They would come from all over, and they would be, oh yeah, she's the best. You know, no white girl's gonna take me out. And they used to come to battle me.
Okay.
You know, and you know, they were all. I took them all out. It got to the point where I didn't even change from my pajamas. I would just go down there, take one look at what they had, and go upstairs. So that's actually how my community got, you know, involved and started learning about, you know, hip hop and breaking and popping and all that stuff, because it really wasn't going on where I lived.
Okay. That's interesting. That's interesting. And I guess too you have to recall and pay attention to the time too, because like I said, I started in '82, but the explosion really was between '83 and '84, because that's when the movies like Flashdance and Beat Street and Breaking, they all came out between '83 and '84, and at that point, all of us had went to the theater, to the movies to see these shows being shown. And then people like Gladys Knight and the Pips, they start doing videos, Lionel Richie, all night long, so it was getting great exposure just universally and commercially for a lot of people to be aware of it, outside of the people that was aware of it, that was just doing it in the community in their neighborhoods.
Well, I want to make a correction, because where I lived, but it was going on all over Brooklyn.
Yes.
You know, you had down in Coney Island, you had a whole bunch of crews, the Furious Rockers, Break Till Dawn, you had so many. So I would go down there. Okay. You know, you always had a jam going on by the Himalaya that had a DJ up there, and he would like jam all day, and you always had something going on. And of course, you know, in many other neighborhoods, there was, you know, things going on, just not where I lived. I always had to travel somewhere, you know, to go.
Gotcha. And I think that's interesting because, you know, at some point, think about the kids that were in areas that it just, were just totally dry, just nothing. And so they had to wait till it actually traveled to get to their town before they can enjoy it. So people over in other countries were dying to see what was going over here in America.
Well, it spread pretty quickly. They did not know about it for long. I mean, because you couldn't go anywhere without seeing somebody on a corner with a piece of cardboard or linoleum or something like that.
Yeah, I agree. Now let's talk about your crews, because I understand you were in a couple different crews. But let's talk about the early crews that you got in. What was the first crew, and so on and so forth?
The first crew, we weren't really breakdance crew at this time.
Okay.
This was at the Funhouse, which, is the famous club in Manhattan where a lot of magic happened.
Okay.
And it was a big stepping stone. And, so many people started their careers from the Funhouse, including myself. But anyway, I was dancing with a whole bunch of people, and Jelly Bean named us the Juice Crew.
Okay.
And then at the same time, the Incredible Breakers were hanging out with us. So we just had a massive, like 16 of us that were doing all kinds of dancing going on over there. So when I started popping, these guys came up to me and they offered me to come be with their crew. And the manager was Nelson Cruz, who's very big, God rest his soul. He was very big in the music world and did a lot of Shannon's music. He worked with one of the Dynamic Dolls, Brenda K. Starr, and a lot of other people. So they offered, they wanted me to come. They were mostly all poppers, but then we had some breakers in there too. So that was the first. Oh no, I lied. I'm sorry.
No problem.
I forgot about The first crew I was with were the Dynamic Rockers. I don't know how I could forget that. I was there for a short time, and then I went to the Body Mechanics.
Gotcha.
And I was with them
Gotcha.
until the big breakdance contest at the Roxy.
Okay.
Where I ran into my guys who were the Dynamic Breakers.
Okay.
And then I had to go. I knew that was the place for me.
So for the record, the Dynamic Rockers and the Dynamic Breakers are two different crews, right?
There was some in the same,
Okay.
had left the group and formed their own crew.
Okay.
So 4 of the 5 guys were original members of the Dynamic Rockers.
Okay. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. And like you said, there were so many crews that were popping up during those times.
Oh my goodness.
You know, and sometimes, you know, people had the same names, but they were just different crews. You know,
That happens.
You know, so like we had a Floor Masters here in Chicago back then, and they wasn't aware that, Pex and them had a Floor Masters out there in New York. So it's interesting how, and the only way you really know is as time go on and stuff starts.
And who also was in the Floor Masters?
Who's that?
Chino and Bryant and them from Incredible Breakers.
Yes. I look forward to the time when we can share some more of that history, because I think all of this should come out to help people to understand that this is a part of a culture. Some people still to this day don't understand that hip hop is a culture. Some people they disconnect the elements of hip hop,
right,
and not engage in them together, because again, I think that's what makes it so interesting that they all work together. You know what I mean? Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about, because the first time I went to New York was in '91, and I had a whole list of places that I want to go visit, and I remember the Roxy on the movie Beat Street, and I said I just want to go. I just want to see the outside of it. If I could just see the outside of it, that'll make my day. And I remember going there and seeing the sign that said the Roxy. I said, "Oh my goodness, this is it. This is right." So I had
sacred ground. That was my second favorite place. Funhouse, that was my home.
Yes.
And then the Roxy.
And I know you all had a lot of, I talked to a lot of artists, dancers, MCs, DJs, producers, graffiti artists, and everybody has their favorites.
Of course.
And so, tell the viewers a little bit about, like you say you had to travel, so obviously, we were hip hop. So wherever hip hop was at, that's where we wanted to be. And for some of us, that meant we had to go travel, whether it was getting on a bus or a train or whatever.
2.5 hours each way to the Bronx from Brooklyn.
See?
How's that? 5 hours traveling. I think that's dedication.
Yeah.
I would be going home at like 3:00 in the morning by myself, places that I should have never been in the daytime.
Yeah, exactly.
But, I go where I got to go. I do what I got to do.
Now, let me ask you this. What was it that intrigued you about the dance when you seen it before you started doing it? You talked about popping, you would pop in first. So what was it about that dance style that kind of made you want to say, I want to do that?
The way this guy, Mike Boogie, moved his body.
Okay.
He, a lot up till then, you saw a lot of waving, it wasn't really what it really meaty, how it became. And he had all these great ticks and just, oh my God, the way he moved. And I was like, I got to do that.
Right.
So solely because of Mike Boogie is why I started even going that way into the, the popping and then the breaking. I mean, I had done stuff.
Right.
But, it didn't grow yet to where, to what it had become.
Okay.
That was my foot in the door. And then I just loved it.
Wow. So what would you say on a typical day when you practice? How many hours do you think you might have practiced on a typical day?
God, until the girls got it right.
Okay.
Oh boy, they hated me. Whether we were in the studio, we used to use the Roxy a lot during the day.
Okay.
The owners always let us hang out there. And listen, if you want to be the best, you got to do the work.
Yes.
Which means at any time when we performed, you could freeze frame our performance. And I actually did that in here. I don't know if you could be able to see this.
Okay.
But everything's backwards. This picture here, that's a freeze from our video.
Yes.
Beat Street Strut.
Yes.
And if you could see, we're all in the same position.
Right.
And that's how we had to be.
Wow.
You know? So yeah, it depended.
Okay.
But we worked and we worked hard. And, you know, a lot of times we didn't have anybody to show us how to do the windmills and we had to figure it out on our own.
Yes.
You know?
I agree, because I had the very same experience, because at the time, like I say, I lived in Chicago, so I was many, many miles away from you all. And like I said, I would look at the New York City Breakers dancing on TV and I'd be like, wow, these guys are amazing. So now we're trying to figure out how these moves are being done, you know, because you can look at a book or a magazine and you can see pictures, but it still doesn't really teach you how to do it, right? So at some point you got to just give it a try and say, okay, let me see. Maybe they did it like this, or maybe they did it like that, you know.
Yeah, but I'm right there in the middle of it all, and still have, you know.
Yeah. And even then, like,
it's not easy to be a female in any kind of sport or that men, you know, it's all men.
Yes.
And then if you're good, it's even worse. And then if you're white, it's like, really?
Now
you had to be that good to be accepted.
Now let's talk about that, Kim, because I think that's another important topic as a woman, you know, as a young female coming up in New York. And I remember clearly, you know, and I think this was what in many other communities around the world, you know, like you say, it was mostly guys, you know, but, you know, I remember like when I would see the girls watching, they would be fascinated by what we were doing, but it was very few, at least in my city, that actually participated in doing it. So why was that different for you? Why would you, like you mentioned Mike Boogie, but for you as a person, like, you know, like some people might have looked at it like, oh, you know, that's just too difficult. You know, I don't have that type of strength. What was going on in your mind when you were thinking like, this is what I want to do? Like, you know, can you lay that out for us?
Well, being a tomboy, I always felt that if they could do it, I could do it. Okay.
So you already had the mindset,
and especially when it came to dancing.
Right. So you had that.
I felt there was no dance I couldn't do.
Okay. So you had that mindset already that,
right.
You know.
And the passion.
The
passion really was what drove us.
Okay. That's interesting.
Listen, you wake up in the middle of the night with Charlie horses and cramps, and you go home black and blue, dehydrated, you know, clothes sopping wet. I mean, we did that for fun on the weekends.
Yes.
At the Funhouse, we were the only club that we brought duffel bags,
Mm-hmm.
deodorant, change of clothes. Who bought a blow dryer? I mean, this was a way of life at this place, and a lot of b-boys skirted around the Funhouse because you went to that backstage because there was all kind of dancing going on.
Okay.
You had two dances that were born and created at the Funhouse. You had kick dancing and bugging.
Okay.
That came from nowhere else but the Funhouse. That was born there.
Okay.
Then you had the backstage, which was the break dancing and the hip hop. All that stuff went on back there. If you're going to step on that backstage and you're going to get on that floor, you better bring your A game.
Gotcha.
Because you had some of the best back there, including Pax, Incredible Breakers, you know. So you better, if you're going to step up to them, you know what I mean?
Yes.
You're going to go home with your tail between your legs, or you're going to, you know, be the hero.
Yes.
So a lot of people didn't want to go back there.
Okay.
So, anyway.
Wow. That's interesting. Interesting. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about some of the tools. You mentioned like cardboard. I know, you know, some of the guys from Rocksteady say they started just dancing on the concrete.
Mhm.
You know, and obviously, as time developed, things change. I remember dancing on the cardboard, but also remember dancing on the linoleum. And and in the early days, we were kids, so we didn't have money like that to go get a whole piece of linoleum. So cardboard was the most convenient because you can go in the alley and somebody just bought a brand new refrigerator and you can just grab the empty box
Yeah.
and break it down. And
When you were a kid, it was a clubhouse. Now it's a dance floor. Yeah. And you know what was great about that I always loved? And I was talking about that today with Morris. Him and his brother Manny were part of the Incredible Breakers too.
Okay.
And the nephew Josh, Incredible Josh. And you got to talk to him because he's the generation. He's a nephew from Incredible Breakers.
Okay.
He's done Circus Olay. Janet Jackson, his resume is ridiculous.
Wow.
So if you want to see where it went, this kid took it to the next level.
Nice.
But anyway, we would practice down in basements, in a building.
Yes.
You go down the basement before, I started getting studio time. And, like I said, we used to use the Roxy all the time.
Yes.
And our career took off real quick. But what I loved is that kids from neighborhoods, not that I grew up with a picket fence either,
right?
But now you could contribute. You could bring your mom some money for food, for rent, just by going out there with your cardboard or your linoleum and performing and people giving you money.
Yes.
So many, it was like, I love that part of it. I love that it gave an income to kids.
It did.
Whether you're going to go out and buy some, new clothes, but a lot of them were so proud to bring that home to mom.
Yes.
And I love that part of it,
Yeah. Yeah. Like, what? You made this? You did this dancing?
Yeah. Listen, I know I was always proud. I didn't even live at home.
Okay.
And I used to give my mother money.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
that's amazing.
I like that part of it,
That's amazing.
However, they took advantage, a lot of us, especially the little kids.
Yeah.
Come be in the commercial, I'll give you $50.
Right. Right. Yeah. I think that the world began to see it as a marketing strategy, and they was just like, and that's why the movies came out, because they seen all the kids dancing on the streets before they took it to the big screen, and they knew that they were going to make money off of that.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. I was talking to Poppin' Pete, and he was explaining to me that there was a book that came out in 1984 called Breakdancing, and they interviewed him prior to the book coming out and took pictures of him and everything. So when he seen the book, he said he was so upset because the title of the book says breakdancing, but Poppin' Pete said, "I'm not a breakdancer, I'm a popper." So they, how the media kind of like just throws it all out there, and they don't understand the terminology.
Oh, no. Oh, I thought you were going to say they didn't pay him or give him royalties or,
Yeah, but the thing is that I remember a lot of people always throwing the title of breakdancer, because even like Shabba-Doo, he classified himself as a street dancer, but he specialized in locking. Right. But people would even call him, he's a break dancer. Now he did it a little bit, but that wasn't his specialty.
Right.
And so I think that's another thing why I think it's important for us to talk about the history and share it so that people can understand the terminology right.
Right.
And like you said, being a female amongst a whole bunch of guys, let's talk about that. Because you said that, I've seen the picture, and I'm gonna pull up some of the pictures real soon, but some of the things that you did, not just being a female dancer, but some of the stuff that you did required the strength of a man. Really, like I'm talking about, like like you said, how many girls could do this, but even more importantly, how many guys could do some of the things that you did.
Right.
And
so dangerous.
Yeah. What was like your typical? Because I remember when we were dancing, some of the stuff we were doing was very dangerous. But also, we were trying to equip ourselves. So we would do these stretching exercises. What was that like for you? What was your typical routine to kind of get your body in?
Oh, we did all that. We did
Okay.
all that. You got to
Okay.
stretch. Always.
Yes.
Always.
Yes.
Stretch,
yes.
get loose. Definitely.
Yeah, because you could hurt yourself.
But you can stretch all you want. You put a human being on your head with no hands and spin around, you know, I mean, I caused damage.
Okay.
I caused damage. Big damage.
Okay, let me see. We got a comment that just came in, Kim. Let's see here. It's I'm gonna put it on the screen. It says Kim is true history there and was a force to be reckoned with. She was a problem. Much blessings, sister.
I was a problem.
So I guess, in other words, they saying that you wasn't no joke.
Thank you, Morris. I know who that is.
Shout out to Morris.
That's my brother. He's family. That's incredible breakers.
All right, shout out to the Incredible Breakers. All right. Okay, another message from him. True B girl, what head spin a 120-pound girl or guy on her head?
Remember, I told you if they could do it, I could do it, and that's what it was.
That's what's up.
I'm like, come on, Susie, you're going on my head. Let's go. And I got to give it to her because she did it.
That's cool.
You know,
that is so cool. Okay, what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll pick up where we left off. You're watching the RYC Live Fresh Fridays. Rep your city right here with your host, Artistic, and our special guest, Kim-A-Kazi. We'll be right back.
Wanna fight once more, my style. Fight me. We came here to battle.
Bruce Lee in the mix, right here, RYC Live. Tell me, I did not just beat him.
You're pretty good.
That was nice.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome back to the RYC Live show. This is Artistic, and we have our special guest, Kim-A-Kazi. And what I like to do right now is I would like to show a video that you appeared in entitled The Street Strut. And, this was actually one of my favorite videos back then because, again, it was great to see videos being put together and the dance incorporated in the video. So I'm going to share it on our screen, and we're going to take a look at it. And once we watch it, after that, we'll talk about it. Okay, this is the Beat Street Strut, everyone. Wow. That was amazing. Kim, I watched that, and like some stuff you can watch even to this day, and it takes you right back to that time period of when it was popular. And it's just amazing. It's really amazing. I never would have thought in a million years that I would meet anybody from that video.
Oh.
And here we are.
You know what drives me crazy when I watch that is, you talk about people who are uneducated, about whoever was editing, like they had no idea. Like obviously, where's the floats? Where's the hang glides? Where's the windmills? What they're putting in this? I mean,
they take out the best part.
yes, not just us, but a lot of the other people's moves.
Yes.
And that's a sad part.
Yeah.
If I would have had a hand in the editing, but back then you're lucky to get work.
Exactly. Yeah.
I would love to have that raw footage.
Ooh, I can only imagine. Now, where was that location shot at? You look like
actually, you know what? I have the exact address because I have the schedule.
Okay.
I still have it to this day. 8:00 will be here, and this is we're going to film here and film there, and I also have that for one of the Fresh Fests. I have the schedule for that. But anyway, the Dynamic Dolls had just come back from a 5.5 week tour of the French Antilles. And I had water on the knee so bad and I had to do this the next day. We came off the plane, and the next morning you had to be there at like 5:00 in the morning, which is why you don't see the third doll or the fourth in the beginning, because they showed up late. They start shooting without you.
Okay.
Then they joined us later. But right after this, the next day, I wound up in the hospital.
Oh, wow.
My leg locked. Now, you wouldn't know, but I know when I'm spinning, I see my right leg, my knee keeps going out.
Okay.
My sister had to come pick me up at Little Shake. He passed away recently, but he was the one in the beginning with the girlfriend with the paper, and then he was doing the gay walk, the tuts.
Right.
Well, I slept over his house because I'm still like this with his mom, you know, and I couldn't walk. My leg just locked because it was so bad.
Wow.
And I had to go to the hospital. But that's, when you're on tour and you have sponsors that are paying you to perform.
Yes.
If your leg's hanging off, you better figure out how to dance with half a leg,
Yeah.
Because they want their money's worth.
Yes.
So
yes.
That was rough.
And Puma was one of the sponsors behind you all, is correct?
Yes, we had many. Puma, Pony, Nike, Shamster Baron, Swatch, JVC, Panasonic, and I'm sure I'm missing a few more. Imperial Toys.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
We had a lot of sponsors.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That was actually one of my favorites. I remember that clear as day. And I remember like trying to Lee, he was also one of my favorite b-boys too.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, and I remember like I'm just watching this just now, and I remember how we used to wear our socks all the way up to the bottom of our knees.
And the shorts all the way down. Yeah. It was funny because we thought who we were quietly, because we were the only one with a trailer, and they would call makeup, wardrobe, because what we were wearing at the end, the Puma suits, were sent to us on the set by Puma.
Okay.
And then the outfits we were wearing in the beginning, those pants, they were Shams the Baron.
Okay.
So, you have sponsors. You got to wear your Swatch watch.
Right.
You got to wear your ponies or your Pumas. The guys wore the Pumas. We wore the ponies.
Wow.
So, we were the only one on set with a trailer and all that special stuff,
That is so cool. That's so cool.
But what we did was we held the auditions for that video. I was asked by Patricia Birch, the choreographer, which whatever, she wasn't really, but she asked if we would help hold the auditions. So we decided to use a lot of the kids who didn't really do anything yet, or never got to perform yet, or be in anything. That's why you didn't see a lot of well-known.
Okay. Because
if you're wondering, it's Beat Street. You don't see New York City Breakers or Rocksteady.
Right.
Because originally, Dynamic Breakers and the Incredible Breakers were supposed to be in the movie Beat Street.
Gotcha.
So, anyway.
Wow. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I have a picture here. So this is a free shot here.
Mhm.
Now, can you tell the viewers a little bit about what it takes to do a move like this for you personally?
Well, I did it differently with the girls than I did with the guys.
Mhm.
If you'll notice with the guys, their legs are not wrapped around my waist.
Okay.
JC did a fantastic job. That's the girl in the front. She was new to the group and she had to learn all these different choreographed routines. She was thrown on live TV in front of millions of people. And, she just joined the group. So this is the only way we could do the three man, 3 woman move with her. It was a little different.
Okay.
But it actually was more work for me. So Susie, the girl in the yellow, would get on my shoulders. She'd do a handstand and I'd flip her up. And then JC would grab onto her legs and I have to start spinning them from dead weight. I'm not going to lie and say it's easy, especially when you're doing this during a 10-minute performance. It's exhausting.
Right.
Especially, I used to smoke cigarettes. Oh my God, I know, horrible, but I did.
Okay.
So I would be like, by the end of the performance, because we were always moving.
Yes.
We were always moving in the back when, we had solos, duets, triplet, we always mixed it up.
Okay.
So you were always moving in unison in the back. So you never just sat there and, so it was, when it came to now, after doing all this other breaking and popping and, spinning somebody on your head and you got to lift 2 other people, Now it was difficult.
Let's take a look at, that. Now that was one very, very interesting shot there, but here's another one. Now, this is you again.
Yes.
Now, who do you is this a female or a man on your top of your head?
That's Kano. He's one of the dynamic breakers.
So
I'm the only female on that tour.
Okay,
so Swatch Watch tour.
So this is the Swatch Watch tour, and this is a male on top of your head.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how did you manage to do that? And I want you to answer this to the viewers because looking at this photograph, there's nothing else that's holding him up outside of him being on top of your head. Right. So how is that? How does that work?
Strength, balance, a little bit of stupidity.
But now also along with you, the person that you had atop of you had to kind of have some strength as also because he couldn't he couldn't have a weak stomach, right?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
Of course.
Okay.
Well, he actually created this move with his partner, Flip, who I was taking his place because he had an injury to his ankle.
Okay.
So I was the only one who could do those other moves, who knew all the choreographed routines, or else what were they going to do?
Right.
So Flip was the guy and Kano who created those moves.
Wow.
So when I told you when I decided with the girls we were going to do that, because I used to hold them up with one arm first.
Wow.
And spin and then drop them to your head.
Wow.
But when I had injuries, I could no longer do that. And I had to hold them with both arms and then put them on my head.
Mm-hmm.
But, once you pick up the momentum, it's simple. But that's where they got to do their job, not to, thank God I've never dropped anybody.
Okay.
Ever.
Okay.
Ever. But, they got to stay up there.
Yeah.
They got to have those good abs, which Susie had amazing abs. And obviously Kano did too.
Okay. Now here's another shot.
Oh, this is funny because you just said the no wires. We had gone to a restaurant after one of the performances, and you're at stadiums that have 35, 40, 50,000 people. Mm-hmm. So we were eating, and of course everybody recognized us because we just performed at the Coliseum. And when they saw me, I was 120, 124 pounds.
Yes.
And they're like, you didn't lift those guys. There were wires and da-da-da-da-da. And the girl, JC, the one behind me in the green headband, she's like, no, she'll do it right here. And I'm like, JC, we just ate. I really don't want to put them on my head right now.
So this is at a restaurant.
Yes.
Wow.
So my manager snapped this picture as I had to prove to everyone at the restaurant that I could do it and there were no wires.
Wow.
So it's funny that you happen to say that because that's actually what happened.
Wow. Wow. And there you have it.
No wires in the restaurant. Yeah.
Wow.
Mhm.
So I have another picture here, and I want you to talk to us about this one here.
Okay, that was our manager, one of our managers. Our other manager was Loretta Rock. You would know her son, Ty Mark, from the movie The Last Dragon.
Yes.
That was her son. She was our other manager. And we were actually doing a favor. His sister was opening up a new store upstate. So we went to, bring in some business, get a crowd going. So there's the dolls. And if you see, we each have a coordinating pen. That was my idea.
Okay.
Because everyone asked for autographs all the time. I remember I used to sign my name and say, who the hell, this is going to wind up under somebody's bed, or want my autograph for, But, you had to do it. So we might as well look good while we did it. So that was that picture.
Nice. That's cool, the crew. And then here's another shot.
Oh, boy. That was at the famous Funhouse.
Funhouse picture.
Yes, sir.
Wow. And this was a time I remember, too, a lot of us as crews would get, a sweatshirt or a T-shirt.
Oh, God, I had so many.
And have the letters.
Most chillable.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, this was, what it was? That place was so amazing. I could just go on forever. But you kind of lived it. I mean, the outfits we used to wear, and I have to say, my mother, the one thing she was really cool about, do you know, I went to a 5-star restaurant where everybody's in dressed up and in Manhattan. It was at the top of the Gulf and Western building.
Okay.
And I went with my crazy Funhouse outfit on, red tights and red and white striped shorts and my Funhouse shirt. And everybody else in the family's all dressed up. My brother has slacks and a dress shirt. And I would go with my crazy costumes. And my mother never told me to change.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, I look back and I'm like, oh, my God, what was I doing? That's me. That was me. I never like to do what everybody else does. I always like to be different. And, my mother let me be. I must say, she was really good with that.
Nice.
All the crazy costumes I used to come up with.
Wow. Now, here's a shot of you performing. And can you talk to us a little bit about this one?
Oh, yeah. That's the 1983 Kennedy Center Honors. They said the New York City Breakers, but you have the Dynamic Dolls. You have some of Magnificent Force, some of Rocksteady, and, of course, the New York City Breakers.
Yes.
And this was a real important moment in hip hop and breakdancing because it was done in front of Golden Hollywood and the President of the United States and the government, all the senators and it was really like there were other, I know there was on That's Incredible and there was other shows, but this was really introduced to Middle America. The only thing is, we're sitting at home, and I'm so proud for my family to see this, and they cut all the girls, they cut all our stuff out.
Wow.
Only us.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when y'all were doing it, it was there, but then when it went.
Well, every year they film it in November.
Okay.
And then they put it on in December.
Okay.
And here's a little funny thing. You talked about the longevity of breaking in hip hop. When we were about to go on, everybody gets their makeup and Brenda K. Starr. I told you she was one of the dolls, and she was like upset. And I said, "What's the matter?" And she's like, "That ballet guy." I said, "Who? Mikhail Baryshnikov?" She goes, "Yeah." He said to her, now I think this is really cruel because Brenda was like 16, you know, we're about to go out in front of all these famous people and, you know, cameras are filming us. And he says to her, "Don't expect anybody to really applaud because what you do is just a fad. And what I do is an art."
Wow.
Where the hell is he now? When's the last time you saw him?
Wow.
I thought that was really foul.
Yeah.
Guess what? Wait, this is the best part.
Uh-huh.
So he goes on and does his little twinkle toe routine, right? Hey, everybody claps. We go on and get a standing ovation
Wow.
and have the picture to prove it.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, you know, I do recall, and that was your experience, but I do recall even me personally experiencing people that was saying that this is a fad. It'll be here today, but it'll be gone tomorrow. And that used to be kind of hurting. You know, when I would hear those words, I felt hurt because I loved it. I loved dancing. You know, breaking was a big, huge part of my life. And so when I would hear people kind of degrade it like that, that made me feel sad. You know, I was just like, yeah, you know, I said, every dance has to start somewhere. It has to have some beginning. And so why are y'all talking negative about this? You know, and then it was a lot of talk about
they can't do it. That's why.
Yeah, and then they would talk about a lot of negative stuff about, you know, it's dangerous. You can hurt yourself.
Well, that's true.
And I'm thinking like, okay, but ain't that the case with everything? I mean, you know, people that been doing gymnastics for years, but don't they get injuries as well?
Well, you know, dancers, all dancers,
Yes.
ballet dancers, you get injured and you just keep going.
Yeah.
I mean, even Dancing with the Stars. They get all jacked up and they still come out and perform.
Exactly. And look at the sports arena. It's been around for years, but yet it's dangerous as well. I mean, you can hurt yourself. So, you know, I
no pain, no gain.
There you go. There you go. And I've never seen a dance, like I said, that could match breaking. Like, that's why I was so amazed at the stuff that people were doing. Because I'm like, how is this person spinning and doing this and doing that and flipping and all of this other stuff? I had never seen anything like that before. You know, so
but let me ask you, could you ever have imagined the things that they're doing today?
Oh my, no.
Shit.
No. and that's my point. That's why I'm saying it's still growing, it's still developing, and it's just totally amazing at what they were doing. Like, we thought back in the day, the 1990, where you spin on one hand and your body is elevated in the air, we thought that was a difficult move. We thought that was, but now they're doing, you know what I'm saying? They're doing that one hand to the next hand, and they got one like this where they call 2000, and you're spinning on both of hands, and you know, going down to a head spin, all combinations and everything.
Crazy.
It's just like, what the heck?
I know.
So the dance is not going
but
anywhere.
At the same time, you know, they're born into it.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, I mean, I know when I started, I was a teenager already.
Yes.
So to be able to lift your own weight, you know, and do, you know, all the moves that we did, you know, you got to give us a little bit of credit.
Yeah.
Because when you start, when you're really young, it's not that difficult to lift your own weight because you're little.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. And we pioneered a lot of moves.
Absolutely.
You know, like I heard an interview that Crazy Legs did, and he was saying he actually he said he did a move by accident. Yeah, and I know, but now here's the thing. I know that when we were trying to do stuff, sometimes we were trying to do one move,
right?
But in the midst of trying to do that move, we discovered something else, you know, by accident. Like, wait a minute, what did I just do? And see, and we didn't have cameras, so we couldn't go back and watch ourselves.
I know.
We only had what
we only
had what our crew members seen, and we're like, what did it look like? Oh, do it again, do it this way. You're like, okay, you know, try it again. So, you know, and you would discover some things, and then all of a sudden you're like, wow, man, I just created something different. You know, at least in your mind, you know, now maybe it had already been done somewhere else, but in your neighborhood, in your amongst your crew, you had never seen it before, you know, right? So, you know, I think, and again, like, every dance has to start somewhere. You know, there were no schools teaching this. In fact, we used to have to, in grammar school, we used to have to sneak to do some of the stuff in the hallways because we wanted to dance so bad. And we would ask the teacher, could we go to the washroom? And I went to a Catholic school, so we had to wear a uniform.
Boy, forget it.
I went to and look, we would
in public school, we used to have the radio in the cafeteria.
Yeah.
And they used to we'd be doing the bump and the hustle. And we were allowed, but you know.
Yeah. Look,
not in Catholic school.
We would come back from the bathroom and the teacher would grab me and turn me around and say, "What's all this dust on your back?" And I said, "Oh, I kind of slipped."
I fell. I got the Holy Ghost. But you know, I've talked about this before and I've put up videos. I don't know if you ever saw it, but back in the day, way back in the day, in the 30s and everything.
Yes.
They were doing this thing. They were doing swipes and head spins and
yes.
Frankie Darrow used to do all kinds of breakdance moves.
Yeah.
How crazy is that?
Yeah, I mean, I looked at, you know, that one famous clip of the Nicholas brothers and some of the stuff that they were doing. It was just, you know, the high kicks and the splits. And I'm just like, and they're doing this in a suit.
Yep.
You know, like,
yeah.
a lot of the dances.
We did the Kennedy Center Honors. You know, I was hired at first to be the choreographer. And then when they saw me dance, they put me in the show.
Okay.
So we're practicing, you know, it's pretty empty. There's a few people scattered about. And I was telling everybody that because we were there to honor Catherine Dunham.
Yes.
And so once we applauded, I said, instead of let's go out backstage, let's go down and dance up the aisles and like dance with, you know, a couple of people as we leave.
Mm-hmm.
So I got off the stage to show them what I meant. And as I passed an aisle, I see Gene Kelly sitting there. And I'm like, now I never asked nobody for their autograph. I was on Regis twice. Never.
Right.
So, you know, but this is Gene Kelly.
Yes.
So I'm like, oh my God, should I say something? What do I do? You know, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So on the way back, I just said, to hell with it. So I leaned in because he was a few seats in and I said, "Hi, Mr. Kelly. I just wanted to say that you have inspired me." And he goes, "You inspired me." And I was like, oh my God. I was like inside. I was like crazy. I was so excited. And when we did dress rehearsal, where I just told you we were getting our makeup, well, he was waiting for his makeup artist. And I got to sit there and have a conversation with him for like an hour.
Wow.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
See, and then you get all these great experiences. You meet new people. You know, that's you know, what more could a young person ask for during the time of his life? You know?
But you know what's funny? I didn't think anything of it. It was just like you went along with everything. Okay, yeah, we're gonna. Oh yeah, there's Frank Sinatra over there. Oh, look at Lucille Ball's over there. Yeah, hi.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
That was me at least. You know.
Yeah.
But as I get older, and I'm like, what an honor to be asked to perform. Not only to perform, but to choreograph something for the Kennedy Center Honors.
Yes.
Like, but, you know, back then I was just like, okay.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
They're like, you want to do it? Yeah, okay, I'll do it. I don't even remember asking how much I was going to get paid. I was just like, yeah, okay, I'll be there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that the other day. I says, gee, I don't remember. Like, you know, as you get older, you think of like, well, how much am I going to make first?
Right.
What's my cut?
Right. And I think, you know, when you know, again, like when you go back to us as being young people, you know, we're just happy to be seen and heard.
Right.
You know, let alone, you know, like, you know, oh, you know, are we going to get paid? You know, that's probably one of the last questions we'll ask.
There was some things like I had gotten the lead for Body Rock with Lorenzo Lamas.
Yes.
Okay. Didn't even know I was auditioning, but that's a whole other story within itself.
Okay.
because it was all the guys were with Chronic and Kelly. It was a talent agency, even though we had our manager, and I had to go join up. So when I went up there, there's all these people and all these headshots, and I'm like, I didn't have one of those. Was I supposed to bring one? What the hell do I know? I'm a kid from Brooklyn.
Right.
What do I know about this stuff? So they're like, oh, okay, Kim, here, you're going to read for the lead. You got to remember the script. And I'm like, okay. So to me, I was thinking, all right, it's a talent agency. They want to see if you have talent. Made sense, right? Maybe you got to audition to get into the talent agency. So I'm trying to read the script, and there's a lot of cursing because it's a fight scene between the girl and the guy. All right, so they call me in the room, and I'll never forget. It was a square room with a big round table and all these people around it. And I sit down, and they ask me some questions. So the woman across from me, she was reading with me. So she says, well, let us know when you're ready. So he says, okay, I'm ready. You're not ready. Where's your script? Sort of like yelling at me. And I was like, they told me I had to memorize it. And you memorized it? And I said, yes. So they're all looking at each other. Okay. And we start doing the scene. So the part where I have to yell at her, I guess I got a little overzealous. Me, imagine that. And I punched the table. Yeah, and I pointed. Thank God she was far away, because I probably would have poked her in the face. And she was like this, you know. Anyway, long story short, call back. They love me. It was down to me and some other girl. They start filming you. And then, casually, they say, well, you don't mind nudity, do you? And I was like, what? Yeah, you have to do nudity. Are you okay with that? And I was like, no. And they're like, bye.
Wow.
And that was it.
That was it.
Yeah.
Just like that.
That's it.
Wow.
I don't regret it.
No, hey, look, you know, and I
didn't want to kiss him anyway. So.
And look, I think every person has a right.
I never watched the movie, so I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
If I was smart, I would have said, yeah. And when it came to that part, say, no. What are they going to do? Start refilming the whole thing?
Right.
Get a body double.
Yeah, there you go. That, now, see?
You know, you're young. What do you know?
So let's talk about you moving on up into becoming a published author. So you published a book in what, 2015?
Okay.
Is that when the book came out? What
I
made
don't
you
even remember?
Okay, so Kim, what made you want to publish a book? This book is entitled. It's entitled. Okay, so it's entitled "A B Girl in a B Boy World."
Correct.
So how did this project come to be?
Well, a lot of people kept telling me you should write this down. You have history. You know, we hear the same stories all the time. You really should write a book. Actually, it was a gentleman, Georges from Greece, who actually convinced me to write this book. Because I didn't think it was something I wanted to. I don't mind telling the stories, but then to sit down and, and how do you tell a story about how wonderful you are? No, but that's what I mean. How do you tell a story and explain your talent without making yourself sound like, you're doing this?
Right.
And I didn't want it to be a hate book.
Okay.
Because if I would have wrote it today, it would have been a whole different kind of book.
Okay.
I would have been out in everybody, but I didn't want it to be about that. I wanted people to take the journey with me.
Yes.
For those people who never really got to be on a stage and feel what 50,000 people applauding for you feels like. It's like, I wanted them to come. And then all the things that happen behind the scenes, you don't really hear people tell that.
Yeah.
They'll talk about the performances and this, but all the crazy things or the mundane things that happen, behind the scene on the tour bus and all that stuff, I wanted to bring people in and, take them on my journey with me.
Yes. So that's wonderful. So for those of you who have not, please go pick up your own personal copy of Kim's book. Once again, it's entitled "A B Girl in a B Boy World." So it's very fascinating. It's over 200 pages. It has photographs in here. Very interesting stories. I really enjoyed reading this book.
Thank you.
17 chapters. Okay. And I think here's the back of it. I think for us, this is what we call our legacy. Like you can tell a story, you can talk about it verbally out of your mouth, but I feel that once you put it in writing, now you can leave this behind.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're no longer around, people can pick up this book and they can read and learn about you and see what did you do in your lifetime when you were here. And especially your contribution to hip hop. A lot of times people don't look at us as being valid contributors. But as we leave these jewels behind, it's almost like gold. It's like, oh wow, look at, here's a whole book about this person and what they did and how they contributed to this culture. And that's why, again, all of these museums and stuff are popping up, because we need these artifacts to go inside to help tell our stories.
Everyone has a story to tell.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So I think it's I want to commend you for all of your efforts and
thank
you.
Same to you.
And it's also, we got to look at it like this. It might be some young women out there today that's trying to get into it. They like where to go. You got all this technology out here, but you still have to have something to connect to these people. And you just never know who somebody might just be watching you. Somebody may be looking at this interview saying, wow, this is just what I needed. You can become an inspiration to somebody else, just like you say you was even back then. Mm-hmm. So, I think all of us need to take that in and remember that there's not a day goes by that we can't become someone or something success in our life, and we just have to, like you say, you got to put the work in. You can't do it without the work.
Right. Yep. You have to.
Yes.
If you have the passion, you got to go for it.
Yes.
Because nobody can do it for you.
That's true. Mm-hmm. So, Kim, what would you like to say in conclusion? We've actually come up over the hour mark, but, we have people watching. We had a couple more comments come in. But what would you like to say in conclusion to any up and coming dancer, especially female dancers that wants to get into breaking or that's in it and they're just trying to find their way? What kind of advice would you give them?
Well, I'd say you got to start somewhere. So start at the beginning. You're not going to learn overnight, but be safe. Don't try anything crazy, work your way up to the, have somebody who's willing to help you and be safe, and don't let anybody tell you can't do it.
Yes.
And practice and practice and practice.
That's what's up. And Kim, we hope to definitely get you over to Chicago one day soon and come check out the Chicago Hip Hop Heritage Museum.
I would love that.
We'd like to have some of your artifacts in there if possible. This is, I love to support my fellow brothers and sisters because I feel like we are our own peers of each other. Right. We study and feed off of each other, and so we gotta stop looking at it from the angle of it's competition. It's competition. Hey,
you get more shine than me. And...
Yeah. We can't. We got to come out of that because at the end of the day, we are a whole culture of people on our own, and there's people on the outside looking in and saying, "Hey, they're doing something fascinating." That's why some people try to get bits and pieces of what we have created. You know what I mean? So I think I'm honored and privileged to be a part of this culture, and I love it.
Absolutely.
That's why I do what I do on a day-to-day basis to expose it to the world. And I think like someone like yourself that has been around and has done some great things, people need to know. They need to know, and we need to continue to share it, continue telling people our legacy.
I agree. I have a lot of people I could direct you to that have some really great stories and fascinating history. So I'll definitely hit you up with that.
For sure. So let's see. Let's look at a few more of these concluding comments. My partner, Mr. RYC Live himself checked in. He thought this was funny when you made this comment. about the Twinkle Toes performance.
I know. You know, when you get old, you have no filter. It just comes right out.
He also says Dusty back B-boys breaking in the bathrooms.
Oh, that's you.
Yeah, right.
That's a pretty cool name. Yo, Dusty back.
And then he says, and this is a true statement, hip hop is the fountain of youth. Like today, I work with young people today, and
yes, that's wonderful. I love that you do that.
Thank you. And I tell them all the time. I say, hey, it brightens my day, it makes me smile when they're eager to learn, because I said, man, when I was their age, I didn't have someone to take the time out to show me what I'm showing you.
Right.
So, it's just good to see the generations of people constantly growing and developing, because I'm just like, wow, like this dance is still here. It's still here. So
I don't think it's going anywhere now.
I totally agree. So everyone pick up a copy of Kim's book, A B-Girl in a B-Boy World. I bought my copy off of Amazon. So if you go to Amazon.com, you can type in that title and pay your money, and you can get now the only thing I need now is a personal autograph from Kim.
Well,
so,
we can do that. It also comes on Kindle and ebook if you'd rather have it that way.
Yes. So if you like to do the Kindle or ebook, that's available for you as well. I'm an old school person, so I like the physical hard. This is a paperback book. So,
this is a paperback book. Like I never saw one before. We ain't that old.
Look, I like to hold stuff in my hand. So I know some people like the digital age, the Kindle and the ebooks and stuff like that, but I still like to hold the paper.
No, I hear you. Me too.
Yeah. So, okay, Kim, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. You're wonderful.
Thank you. And we look forward to your continued...
And thank you for tuning in, whoever's out there.
Yes.
All three of you.
Yeah. And look, if you know anybody that would like to see this entire interview, if they missed any of it, you can always go back to our channel, which is RYC Live on YouTube. And you can look at the entire interview. And if you would like to make any comments, you can. Kim will be able to see those, and hey, now for Kim, how was
nice.
Right. Now, how can people connect with you if they'd like to connect with you? Any social medias that you'd like to give out for people to connect with you?
Well, basically, I'm really only on mostly Instagram and Facebook.
Okay.
So if you look up Kim-A-Kazi, you could find me on both of them.
Okay. All right. And I'm
on YouTube, but
okay.
Aw, thank you, babe.
We appreciate that. Yes. So we want to send a shout out to everyone tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. This has been the RYC Live Show once again. We do this each and every Friday at 8 p.m. And we'll be back once again next week with another special episode. So stay tuned. But until then, we want to just remind everyone to continue to rep your city. And we'll see you back again here next week. Thank you, Kim. I will be in touch with you sooner than later. And you have a good evening, okay?
Ciao, babe. Thanks.
Peace out.